Good morning. I won't say please take your seats because it looks like everyone is in their seat already. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Columbia. My name is Rebecca Drennan. I'm going to be your service leader for today. To those of you who are here in the sanctuary, just a reminder that we're being streamed on YouTube. And to those of you who are watching, we're so glad to have you with us also. Of course, we'd rather have you here with us, but we're so happy to have you. Also, let me remind you that we do have a pre and a post Zoom call if you want to experience community before and after the service. Hopefully, you've seen that you have what we call the OOS. In old Christian terms, that was the bulletin. And it has all the announcements, and they're all listed there. Also, we have this blessing of weekly events. Every Thursday, Andrea sends out a unigram. And there's also the website, which Liz Turner just keeps all updated with all the happenings of the church. I urge you all to keep up with that website and notice what's happening. Because we're still practicing COVID restrictions, we just really ask that everyone wear a mask, or at least it's highly recommended. Also, for parents, it's good for you to know that in the back of the hall, of the social hall, there is a large group of all kinds of toys and books that are just for kids, so just to know that that's available. So now let's center ourselves for today's service and remember to silence all those electronics if you brought them in and listen to the magic of the prelude. Thank you.
Good morning. It's special and good to be back with you today after I've been away a bit this summer seeing family out of state, attending for the first time the Association for Unitarian Universalist Music Ministries annual music conference, and being a little under the weather for a couple weeks trying to get back to you. I'm happy to be here. And in the spirit of our story for today and the theme of the service, our opening music is Learning to Fly by Michelle McLaughlin.
Thank you so much, Anna. I invite you all to stand and join with me saying the congregational covenant that's found in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community. Thus do we covenant with one another. Thank you. You may be seated. Our minister is the Reverend Stephen Robinson, and on those Sundays when he's not here, we have a variety of interesting speakers from this congregation and from the wider community. Unitarian Universalism is a diverse and non-creedal religion. We're a covenantal religion, which means we don't have to believe the same in order to respect each other, to treat each other the same with equity and compassion and dignity. Our community is based on deeds, not creeds. As Unitarian Universalists, we side with love, embracing all people regardless of age, color, race, socioeconomic status, physical ability, or religious background. We've been officially designated by the Unitarian Universalist Association as a welcoming congregation. That means that LGBTQ plus individuals are welcome. We especially invite families with their young children and even often have a nursery when called for. We encourage everyone to wear name tags so that we can know you better. Board members wear green tags, and I wonder if they would be willing to stand so that if we have any questions or comments, we could find them later. Oh, good, all around. Thank you. At this time, we'd like to recognize any guests or visitors that might be with us today. Visitors, if you're here, would you please fill out a visitor card and put it in the collection plate? There should be one on the back of a chair in front of you. And that information enables us to send you our newsletter and emails about events. And we promise no one will come on an uninvited visit. Are there any visitors here that would stand? Yes.
Hi, my name is Liz. I live in Lugoff, and I moved to South Carolina about 2 years ago, and I was raised Unitarian.
Welcome. Welcome, Liz.
I'm Emily.
I'm Alex.
We are Buddhists who just moved to Columbia, and I know that the Insight group meets here, I think, but we're also looking to expand and meet people.
Lovely. Again, your names are what?
Emily.
Emily
Alex.
and Alex. Emily and Alex. Welcome. Glad to have you here. You'll find the other Buddhists here too. Yeah, anyone else? All right, thank you. Today's chalice lighter is Tony Ganong, and I've asked him to introduce himself to you or reintroduce himself to you because he's been here a long time.
Thank you, Rebecca, and good morning to everybody. It is good to be here in person. I think with the pandemic and all the closures that just a handful of times have I been here in the last 3 years, as hard as that is to believe. But my wife Yolanda and I have been involved with this congregation since 1991. And I have served on the board. I have been the treasurer of the congregation for 3 years. That was back in the 90s. And during my working life, I was executive director of the South Carolina State Museum and did that actually for 24 years. I was involved with that project, first as deputy director and then as executive director. But I retired, as we all eventually do, I guess, in 2006. And since that time, I've been involved with an organization called the Funeral Consumers Alliance of South Carolina, which grew out of this congregation, was actually formed by members of this congregation in 1993. And we are still headquartered here. We get our mail here and all of that. So we're going to be doing a workshop on the 10th of September. Information is in the Unigram. So thank you very much. Really good to be back here with you.
Thank you, Tony. Spirit of light and life, come unto us. Thank you.
This morning's musical meditation is the Song of Daedalus and Icarus by Mary C.W. Hardy. Oh, we can fly. Oh, we can fly like the birds in the sky. On wings like eagles we will soar, and we'll never be prisoners anymore. We'll cross the sea on mighty pinions. We'll fly brave and free. Like angel travelers we will roam. We are flying across the sea to home. And high and true, and high and true, we will soar through the blue. For freedom calls us from the sky, and we'll follow it even if we die. We will not fear, though the sun may be near. On eagle's wings we'll fly away. We'll be happy and free one lovely day. We'll be happy and free one lovely day.
Flip things in the script a little bit and see. I'd like to read the opening words after we do the story for all ages. So are there any young folks that would like to come down for the story for all ages? You're more than welcome. You can also stay where you're seated because we're going to make the adults work today too. So does that work? Good call. See, I gave you the out there. So if you're sitting out there with the adults, they have to participate. So turn to the adults and say, you have to do this too. All right, so this picture on the front is a beautiful portrayal of the story that we're focusing on today of Icarus and Daedalus from Greek mythology. And it's all about the experience of flying and a dad creating wings for himself and his son so that they could fly to freedom. And we'll talk more about the story in a little bit. Obviously, they had to build wings because our bodies aren't meant to fly or aren't made to fly. I don't know if they're meant to fly or not, but they're not made for flight. And we have to deal with gravity, things like that. So, but we can't imagine that we're flying. So everybody stand up if you're able. You can do this sitting too. And you need to sprout some wings. So however you do that, if you want to go full arms, or you can do, poultry wings as well. It's not going to get you too high off the ground, but, obviously don't hit someone next to you. All right. What was that? What bird was that? All right. All right, so Ezekiel just gave us I'm going to say that was like a peacock, right, trying to get off the ground. So, all right, there's some folks from Riverbank Zoo that have seen that before, for sure. All right, so close your eyes, and I want you to use your imagination, since our bodies won't do it, and imagine you're lifting off the ground and able to fly around. Lifting yourself out of the sanctuary here, finding yourself out one of the doors. I guess you can go through the ceiling since you're using our imagination. You're up in the clouds. It's an overcast day, so you're looking around. You see the gray clouds out there, maybe feel some misty rain, the cool air of getting up off the ground in Columbia, South Carolina. You're flying around, you're looking around. Maybe you've already flown and you're able to find where you live or a neighborhood close to where you live, or maybe you can see downtown from here and you're flying around. Now, as you're up in the air flying, I want you to just name one emotion that you feel. Just say them out loud. Freedom. Freedom. What was another one? Joy. Peace. Stretching, all right. Any others? Ezekiel, what do you feel? Aye. All right, that's an emotion. Aye. I like it. Anybody else got an emotion you want to name? Exhilaration. Peace. Relief. All right. Maybe y'all should fly more often. Those are good things. All right. Bring yourself back down. Don't open your eyes before you bring yourself back down, because that could be dangerous. So bring yourself back down to the ground. And when you're back on the ground, feet on the ground, you can put your wings away and sit back down. So even though our bodies aren't built to fly, our minds are. Our minds are meant to feel that way. And so that's why flying, a lot of our music today is about flying. Our focus in our service today is about flying. It is the experience, and it's a metaphor for what can you do to make you feel that way? What can you let go of that's keeping you on the ground? And that's certainly a way to think about life. So if you feel that way when you're up in the air, what can you remove from your life that keeps you from feeling that way? And what can you add to your life that creates moments like that of exhilaration, of peace, of joy, of release, of freedom, of all those feelings that we have when we're up in the air. So that's the focus of flying. Of course, the story, as we get into it, doesn't work out so well for Icarus. But the image and the metaphor of flying is something that you and I should constantly be trying to figure out how to have those experiences in our life. And certainly, the UUCC is a place that should launch you into the air and be a place of support so that you can experience exhilaration, joy, peace. Thank you all for listening. So with that thought in mind and those feelings, I'm going to share the opening words. And hopefully our YouTube and Zoom crowd got up and did some of that flying around as well. It would be called virtual flying. Sorry, couldn't resist that. So remembering the joy, the exhilaration, the freedom, the peace, all of the things, the release, the stretching, all of the things that you named into the room or felt in the room. Hear the words entitled Orange Energy by Jennifer Shealy. All I want to do is the light, to throw the mask off, to not care, to not worry, not explain what I mean or define what I do. Just be whatever I feel like being. Just relish in the energy of this moment. I want to be so alive that I feel like the moon, throwing tides just for fun. Creating because it's what I'm here to do. I want to love the color orange just because it craves the light too. I want to cry because I'm so in love with the miracle of being alive. I don't want to feel like I'm striving. I want to try and feel like I'm flying. This time we prepare ourselves for Candles of Community, a part of our service where we offer a chance for members and guests to come and share any joy or concern they would like to make known in this community, to light a candle to symbolize that joy or concern, and to feel the embrace and the love and the support of this congregation. There are always 7 candles in the foyer that you can pick one up, and at this point in the service, just come down, briefly share your joy or concern into the microphone, and then light your candle. Are there anyone who would like to share today?
Tall people. Hi, my name is Pat Moore, and I have a candle of gratitude to light. As past president of this congregational board, yesterday I had the opportunity to attend the first retreat we have had in 3 years. And we were able to do this because we could meet at Merrill Gardens, which is where Jenny Verne lives. And so as a resident, we were able to use their boardroom. And what I'm up here to tell you is those of you who have never served on one of our boards, talk about the incredible lightness of being, to go into Stephen's metaphor. Serving on the board with the people here that serve on the board, it's something you have to experience. If you've hesitated, please don't. The warmth, the democracy, the participation that I felt yesterday at this retreat that was led so well by your new president, Deb Matherly, with help from Mark Drews, I can't express in words how wonderful it was. Thank you.
So we're lighting a candle of joy. It's not usual that a day of service falls in our anniversary, but this time it did. So I guess so it's our 28 years that we've been married, and I could not find a better partner to share my life with. So we just wanted to say it, and also a little bit of candle of sorrow, because our little, not so little one will be going out of state for college, and will be empty nesters again for a while, but we're happy for her.
And we always light one candle here for those joys, those concerns that are too close to name out loud, too intimate to speak, but are still wanting to be a part of this community. I invite you to take a few deep breaths in silence, to connect to the people that have shared today, to feel the emotions, the joys, the concerns, to feel the ones that are unnamed in this space, as we are deeply connected as a community, like a grove of trees connected in roots in ways that aren't always seen. Thank you. This time, we prepare for our offering and our Share the Plate recipient for this month. As we always take some time and take part of our funds each month to focus on a particular work in the community, the Palmetto Place Children and Youth Services, and the name has changed, so I had to make sure I got the name correct, are our Share the Plate recipients this month. You can give to those that work by donating online or using an offering envelope and designating it as Share the Plate. This time I invite our ushers to come and receive our morning offering.
Our offertory music is Soaring by William Gillick.
We receive this offering today. It's a symbol of our commitment to the good work, the UUCC. I want to start today with the obvious for those who have been in attendance over the past couple of months. Some folks have already said to me, you know, we did this story a few weeks ago. And they kind of look at me like, are you losing a little bit, Stephen? And certainly back in June, on June 19th, we had planned for this service, particularly around a theme around Father's Day, to focus on the story of Icarus and Daedalus. And so I want to take this opportunity to thank Mark Drews, who filled in at the last minute that day and did a wonderful job focusing somewhat on Icarus and Daedalus, but also on Hamilton a little bit, who dies, who tells our story, and of course the recognition of Juneteenth and all that it stands for around freedom and an understanding of a more fuller experience of history. So can we just take a second and thank Mark for that? Mark is sitting in the back, so if y'all are looking for him, he is. You can thank him in person a little bit later, but thank you, Mark, for doing that. We were out that Sunday. My whole family was dealing with a COVID infection, so Mark stepped in at the last minute and did that. And of course, in Hamilton, if you've seen that play before, there is another reference to Icarus. Angelica, at one point in the play, says to Eliza, "I'm afraid that you've married an Icarus who has flown too close to the sun." And so this is a common story. We'll definitely revisit it this morning. But as I look to preparing for this week, this story of Icarus and Daedalus continued to churn in my gut and in my mind and my psyche. This is the week for so many that marks going back to school, the beginning of teachers returning to the classrooms, students having their first day of school, colleges and universities beginning the fall semester. And here at the UUCC, we are working on launching our educational programming for the youth of all ages. So I know that you've heard this story that Mark shared 2 months ago in the pulpit, but it's worth sharing again and trusting, as Joseph Campbell said, that the power of myths continue to speak over and over again into the experiences of our living and meaning making. So the story of Icarus and Daedalus begins in Crete, where Daedalus created a plan for the Minoan Palace, one of the most important archaeological sites in Crete and Greece today, a magnificent architectural design, a building of 1,300 rooms dedicated with frescoes and artifacts, some of which is saved until today. King Minos and Daedalus had a great understanding and relationship at first, but at some point their relationship began to deteriorate. There are several versions about why that happened, several explanations, but the one that most historians, most mythologists land on is that he gave Theseus some help and provided a thread because King Minos wanted a labyrinth built to keep both the Minotaur, the beast, the horrible creature that was so dangerous, but he also wanted to use the labyrinth as a prison for people that he thought shouldn't be allowed freedom as well. So Daedalus helped the Theseus escape by providing a thread and getting out of the labyrinth. And so King Minos decided to then imprison Daedalus and his son Icarus into that labyrinth. So infuriated, he decided, I've got to figure out a way for us to escape, knowing that you can't escape by foot because that's too dangerous. You can't escape by water because that's too dangerous. And so Daedalus decided the only way we are ever going to experience freedom from this labyrinth is to fly. And so Daedalus managed to create gigantic wings using branches from a tree and then connecting them with wax. And he taught over time Icarus how to fly, but he told him, don't go too close to the sun because the heat from the sun will make your wax melt and destroy the wings. And so one day it was time to fly. Daedalus and Icarus managed to escape the labyrinth, flew up into the sky, just as you did a few minutes ago, but, really, with wings. The flight of Daedalus and Icarus was the first time that we fought the laws of nature and gravity. Although Icarus was warned, he was young, he was enthusiastic about flying, he got excited by the thrill of being carried away, the freedom, and he started flying high to salute the sun and diving low to the sea and then up high again. His father Daedalus was trying in vain to make young Icarus understand that his behavior was dangerous, but Icarus soon saw that his wings started melting. He fell into the sea and drowned, and of course the Icarian Sea is named for where he fell, and also a nearby island called Icaria. As a parent, there's so many ways that this story connects, but I resonate so strongly with the dilemma of Daedalus. For me, I want to encourage freedom. I want to encourage independence as a father, as a parent to children. I want to nurture their potential and growth. I want to let them know that the prisons and the labyrinths that people build for them to keep them contained, to tell them who they are worth trying to fly and escape from. I want to nurture that kind of freedom. So I think about this every time a school year begins, or really every time we're getting ready for a school day. And so, of course, this week, school year began. And I don't know if you know my family dynamic, but the school year beginning is pretty complex in our home. I'll start with the teenager who's starting high school. So after breakfast, she and I are sitting and eating breakfast and doing the absolute necessary review of the dress code. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Just because I saw her walk down the stairs and I thought, okay, it's time to address the dress code today. So after all of that, I start thinking about the first day of high school and all of the potential, and I find myself crafting wings for her, wanting her to find a launching place out of high school for flight. I think about also the debate around masking in schools across the country. Some schools in the upstate choosing to go to clear backpacks, metal detectors, resource officers that were lined up at the school that looked like Secret Service agents. On top of all the other dangers that the teenage years bring. And the whole way there, my 14-year-old daughter is thinking, I can make this drive. And says it a couple of times. So here's where we turn. Oh, I could do this. And all I can think is, oh my goodness, someone else is driving. Off to college, driving to Spartanburg, the junior year of college where you start really getting into your vocation and the classes are so connected, apartment and independent living. And all I can think about is, man, the dangers of college as I leave. Independent living, I'm walking around just thinking, oh man, so many things can go wrong. I know I'm very pessimistic. My kids compare me to Debbie Downer from Saturday Night Live, because I often remind them of the dangers that are out there. All the way down to a 2-year-old who last weekend we decided to take one last trip to the beach because she loves it so much, and she runs into the ocean like Moana with reckless abandon. And while we're out there with her, kind of letting her enjoy the water, a person that was on the beach that we didn't know comes walking down and he says, hey, how are y'all doing? I said, good. He said, good to see you. Where are you from? We had normal kind of like beach conversation that I always hope to avoid as an introvert, talking to anybody new in general. And he said, hey, have you seen those drone videos where they show all the sharks swimming right off the beach? And he looks out there where my 2-year-old is just kind of, we're basically bait at this point in the water. And he goes, I bet there are hundreds of them out there. And my one thought, and it's not a great thought, but I will confess it, my one thought was, are you a Unitarian Universalist? Existentialist? Like, I came here to get away from that for one weekend. Why am I running into you here? That's connecting me to nature and reminding me of all the dangers. But that's exactly how we live life. And this is the dilemma that parents, I think, live in constantly, and particularly in the world we're in today. We absolutely want to encourage the potential for our children. We absolutely want to nurture them toward freedom and help them take steps along the way to independence and to give them wings to fly and be successful. But it just feels like in our culture today, there are so many dangers out there that we have to worry about, flying too close to the sun. And then we have to worry about if we err on the side of caution too much, we clip those wings and they don't live into their potential. Can I just acknowledge that it's a tough world to be a parent in these days? If nothing else, can the parents of children out there just nod a little bit and say, yes, it is. And it's okay if it's college students as well. It's just as tough. I think because of that, this dilemma that we're living in, too low in the flying, you'll saturate your wings, You can get drugged down into the waves and undermine your potential, sabotage your success, fly too high, you're gonna burn out and melt your wings, all those dangers that are faced, and add to that the impact of mental health issues for today. The UUCC absolutely has to be a place where all parents and families can find support and resources for navigating every challenge in their world today. We have to, it is our job at this place to create that kind of community of support for our families. We have to be a place where students of all ages can find support and resources for navigating all the challenges of their world today. We have to create a community of support for them. We have to figure it out. It's our job to figure it out. And be a resource of spirituality and purpose and meaning that can help all of those form their wings of mysticism and teach students to fly safely and live into freedom, connectedness, and purpose. The CYR committee is working hard to address the needs of the families both in our congregation but also in our community. And as our congregation here at the UUCC, we just need to offer our support and our help and give that committee wings to soar so that they can do the same for our families in this congregation. But you know, the relevance of the myth of Icarus and Daedalus is not just connected to parenthood, because the dilemma of freedom and safety are not unique to parenting. We live our lives striving for that kind of balance, trying to fly high enough to live into our potential, but not so high that we burn out and fall. And of course, aging reminds us that the clock measures times in circles. The calendar marks time in cycles. And eventually we return to the dilemma of our youth, and we ask questions like, how do we balance our desire for freedom and independence with the realistic concerns for our safety and our well-being? Simple things just as driving a car. When do we know that that independence begins to get outweighed by safety? And the children of aging parents live with that dilemma all the time, thinking about how to care for those aging parents. And hopefully those aging parents have modeled that, navigating that dilemma well as they cared for us. The dilemma of Icarus and Daedalus is something we live with throughout our entire lives, balancing safety and freedom together. We want to be a place where you find your wings. We want to be a community, a spiritual community, where you don't just do that during the Story for All Ages, but you literally leave this place with wings to do whatever it is and be your best self in your world around us. And we also want to be a congregation that teaches how to fly and nurtures a place where fears can be spoken. The UUCC is the greatest gift we have around us here in finding community, support, help, and resources. And just if you thought the myth of Icarus and Daedalus, the dilemma was limited to just people, we can talk about institutions as well. Because here at the UUCC, we are facing challenges that can cause us to crash into the ocean too. And as a matter of fact, spending 6 hours with the board yesterday is a reminder that we are responsible for making sure this place flies and lives into its full potential, but also aware of the dangers that can cause it to lose its steam. We are the custodians of this great gift. So we want this place to live into the full potential and soar, and everyone be invested in the flight of the UUCC. In closing, I'll just come back to the words that we used for opening. I want to cry because I'm so in love with the miracle of being alive. I want to feel like I'm striving. I don't want to feel like I'm striving. I want to try and feel like I'm flying.
Our closing hymn is Go Lift It Up by Mortimer B. Barron. You'll find it in your teal hymnal. It's number 1057. I invite you to stand as you're willing and able, and remind you to please wear your mask while joining in congregational singing. I'll play through all the way once and invite you to sing with me twice. Go lift it up, love bless your way. Moonlight, starlight, guide your journey into peace and the brightness of day.
As you remain standing, close your eyes one more time and sprout your wings one more time. Cheered on and supported by this community, blessed by our covenant, uplifted in mind, renewed in spirit, with wings. Go forth with courage and peace and freedom to meet the days that come. Please join me in our congregational benediction. I'd like to thank everyone for being at the service today, and for those who are joining either live on Zoom or watching later on YouTube. I especially want to say a welcome and a thanks to Liz, to Emily, to Alex for being a part of our service today, and we hope that you stick around and give us a chance to get to know you and for you to get to know us as well with some social time afterwards. Next Sunday is our water communion, which is a big ritual day for us each year where we signify our coming back together and getting our year started off together as a community. You're invited to bring some water of significance from a place you visited or something special connected to you and pour it into a common pot a common bowl next week. Common pot. Linda McLeod's like, that's not a pot, that's a bowl. But we will pour it into the common bowl together, and it's a way of really connecting ourselves back through what we have experienced this summer and getting ready for our year. So we look forward to seeing you next Sunday. Thank you. Have a blessed Sunday.